Okay, we are going live. Hello and welcome, folks. Big shout out to everybody that is attending live with us here. We got MKJ, we got Rosa, we got Tamara, we got William, we got Ben, we got Rob. Hello, everybody. We got more coming in here. That's excellent. So, whoops, you can probably see my screen right now. It was Zoom, right? All right. Here we go. This is what we're going to be talking about today. Well, vendors to jumpstart your business credit. My name is Ray Fleming. I am one of the co-founders of Wise Guys and Ties. Pictured there on the screen is also my business partner, Mr. Joseph Smith, known as the Money Guy, mastermind behind everything that we do. And so you can reach out to us at 888-524-9273 or send us an email at bizcredit@wiseguysandties. Next, we are letting you know, hey, you want to know how to build business credit step by step, reach out to our text campaign, which is all you have to do is text credit to 602-497-2257, where you can get a emailed PDF, a 4-step guide to effectively building business credit. All right, let's dive in today. So this week we're talking about so many different changes. The world has changed. Now, right now we're in this unprecedented recession, but I'll tell you what, guys, it is still possible to start a business. And when they were sitting, when this pandemic's been going on, they're saying that there's going to be more small businesses that are born out of this recession than any other time in history. It's time to take back control, folks. So it's a time to be wondering about how to get the capital you need to grow and whether it's possible to even grow at all, let alone thrive. But you can definitely do it right now. And we're going to be continuing to talk about how you can make that happen. So conditions are changing. Lending is changing. Approvals are changing. Uncertainty is still surrounding the entire economy. We're seeing personal side lending credit lines doing very, very weird things. We're seeing changes in scoring models on credit scores. Maybe if you've checked your credit and you've been following your personal credit score, you may have seen your experience score change. That has been happening to a lot of people because of the scoring model is changing. Some very large and long-term businesses are going under, but I'll tell you what, your business does not have to be one to join them. Let's talk about the process of how business credit is built. Just by applying, getting your business up and running, and getting that EIN number from the IRS doesn't mean you have established credit. If you go to a bank and you try to get a credit card or a line of credit using just your EIN number with no credit established, guess what? You're gonna get turned down. Absolutely, that's guaranteed. Now, that is unless you have good personal credit and you use it for that approval while supplying your personal guarantee. Typically, right now, if you have over a 680 personal credit score, it's going to get you in the door. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get approved, but it is a strong indicator that you can get approved. We're seeing some of the credit lines that require personal guarantees now looking for 720s up to 740s. But you may not know which lenders those are, so you can always reach out to us because we do free financial blueprints where if you're looking to use your good personal credit right now to access capital, business credit cards, we can help you do that with our credit hybrid program. Now, on this other side of just building business credit and leaving your social security number out of this, that is possible. And you can do it without supplying your personal guarantee. So right now they're really wanting you to supply that personal guarantee, but it doesn't have to be that way. So building business credit the right way, you can't start with high limit credit cards. You can if you're going to intermix your personal credit, but if you really want to build business credit, you can't just jump to a $30,000 American Express, a $45,000 Visa. You just can't do that. First, just like your personal credit, you weren't able to jump to a large credit card on your personal side, and you can't do the same for your business. So first you must build starter trade lines that report, for example, vendor credit. That is a beginner account that will report to your business credit bureaus. Then you will have an established credit profile. So when you get these credit accounts, These are small vendor accounts, trade lines, store cards, fleet cards. Then they will start to establish a good track record, a payment history, that relationship with lenders. Then you'll get a business credit score. With an established business credit profile and score, you can then get those high limit credit cards without supplying your personal guarantee. So what is a starter vendor credit account? These are trade lines that businesses offer who will give you initial credit when you have none. So as a brand new business, fresh baby business, or you've been in business for a long time, yet you've never actually established any credit. Either way, you have no track record. You have no relationships built, and they're a big enough business that reports, but they're willing to take a bet on the small guy. So these are often vendors who can give you basic business supplies, such as shipping materials, outdoor workwear, landscaping equipment, ink, toner, paper, pencils, pens, office furnitures, desk, mats, all those types of good things that you're already going to probably need for your business. And especially if you're starting out, you're probably going to want to go and buy some of these things anyway. So if you're going to buy them anyway, you can actually feed two birds with one bag of feed. And so that's really the way that it works, is if you are going to be purchasing things, you might as well utilize it to build your business credit. They often offer terms such as net 30 instead of revolving accounts to start. Now, what is a net 30? A net 30 is where you are able to use your allowed credit. So let's say that you're offered a $1,000 line of credit. You're able to use up to $1,000. Once they ship the product to you and invoice you, then the clock starts ticking. You have 30 days to pay them back, and it has to be paid back in full. That's kind of the difference between revolving versus a net account, where net accounts require it to be paid in full. Revolving, that most times will have a minimum payment requirement. Then, however, there are some revolving accounts that are still considered to be starter accounts, and we'll get into those a little bit today. So vendor credit account, net 30 accounts must be paid in full in 30 days. Net 60 accounts must be paid in full in 60 days. Unlike revolving accounts, you have a set time and when you must pay that back versus the revolving account. To start your business credit profile the right way, you need to get approved for vendor accounts that report to the business credit reporting agencies. We talk about this a lot, how the difficult part with these beginner vendor accounts, out of all the businesses out there that you can get approved for to get a net 30 account, only 3% of those companies actually report. That's the big difficult part, is actually finding a company that reports. Now, a lot of them, you're going to talk to a customer service representative and ask them, because you can go out this, and if you're getting a net 30 account for your business and you're not necessarily working with us, you need to talk to people. You need to ask them, hey, do you report to business credit reporting agencies? Do you report to Dun & Bradstreet? And typically you need to ask 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 different people, because one person may not even know, or they'll say yes, they just assume that they do, when in reality, they may not even be sure if they do or not. So once things are reporting, once that's done, you then use that credit, pay back, what you've used. The account is reported to Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, or Equifax. So as you get these accounts set up, they will report to either 1, 2, or 3. Not every account is created equally. There is, on the personal credit side, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That requires certain rules and regulations in reporting. Those do not apply to businesses. So each business, if they wish to extend a line of credit, the business owner, gets to choose and has free reign of how they want to do that. There is no one size fits all. So each business that you have an account with is going to be different than the business before. And that's really what we're here to help you today, is kind of open up your eyes to some of these accounts. And we're going to dive into what these accounts are, how you get them, what to look for, and how you can succeed in this. So vendor credit accounts, once they're reported, then you have trade lines. You need 3 trade lines reporting to get an established credit profile, especially with Dun & Bradstreet. and for them to actually populate a score for you. Using a newly established business credit profile and score, you can then get approved for more credit under your EIN number. If you're not familiar with your EIN number, that's your employer identification number. It's the tax ID for your business. That is the number when you incorporate, when you actually set up your legal entity, you're going to register your business with the IRS. That is the number that we are building business credit on in conjunction with your Dun & Bradstreet DUNS number. So we're not going to dive into today about, credit reporting. If you go onto our YouTube channel, Wise Guys and Ties YouTube, we did, I think, last week or the week before, we did a lot on business credit reporting agencies. So go check that stuff out. Now, for vendor credit, you can leave off your social security number off of the applications. Then the credit issuer will pull your EIN credit to see if there's a profile, check it out, see if there's history. And if there is, then you can get approved for more credit. These few accounts that we're going to talk about today are still usable without using your social security number. Now, there is kind of we talk about not using your social security number. As you move into vendor accounts and store cards and gas cards, there is this barrier of verifying identity. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this in a few minutes, but just understand that we're trying to not have this credit report on our personal credit report. We're not trying not to have inquiries on our personal credit report. We're wanting to move in that direction. Now, there's still a lot of companies that require you to provide your social security number to verify identity in order to prevent money laundering, in order to prevent terrorism. There's sorts of different regulations, but it's important as you're going through these applications, if you have to provide your social, that you're not personally guaranteeing that. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So not using your social security number. No, you can't leave your social security number off of a bank application or many other credit applications. So if you're looking at merchant processing accounts where you can swipe credit cards, if you're opening up a bank account, even though it's a business bank account, you will absolutely have to provide your social security number. Bank loan applications require that 100% of the time. If that credit is ultimately issued by a bank, so key factor here, because of what we just talked about, terrorism, money laundering, because of these items, you're going to have to provide that information. Federal law requires social security numbers on the application, like we said, to prevent fraud. But for these starter vendors, so long as it's not through a bank, we're going to talk about that because some store cards are actually going through a bank. As long as it's not going through a bank, you can leave off your social security number from the applications. Just leave the field blank. If you're trying to fill out some of these applications and they require you to input your, if they require you to input your social security number, then many times you're going to have to ask for a paper application. Fill out that application by hand and then submit that through via fax or email. It just depends on the way that they are able to accept those applications. And so if you have any questions as we're going through any of this, feel free to throw it in the chat and then we'll get those answered as we go along. All right, so the benefits. Let's talk about some of the benefits of the vendor credit. Vendor credit is an important step in building business credit. Vendor credit is easier to get than store credit or fleet credit. It can lead to more credit. Establishing credit will lead to lenders approving you. This process is proven to work. Let me break this down for you. Let's talk about, let's say that you and I met on the street. You never knew me before, we'd never met. And I say, hey, I'd like to borrow $100 from you. And in 30 days, I will pay you back. Well, you don't even know me. So you're like, no. But then you have a friend. You're like, oh yeah, I lent Ray, $100. He paid me back plus interest. He gave me $10 to interest. And if you have the money to lend out, you'd be like, oh, okay, I could make $10 on that. That's cool. Or whatever the amount works for you. But the principle remains the same. One friend is all you need to really question it now. It went from a solid no to, oh, maybe. And then what if you had 5 friends? 5 friends that told you, oh yeah, Ray's like legit. He borrowed money from me. Now that credibility, that relationship built is huge. You're not even going to question now if I'm lendable. You're questioning if it's a good investment for you. So we went from no, I don't know you to is this a good investment? And so that's what we want to do in business credit. We set up these early beginner vendor accounts, the ones that are not very readily available because, there's not that many people are willing to take risks on a small guy and willing to actually pay to report, because businesses actually have to pay to report those accounts. And so as you get some of those, you get 5 to 6 of those reporting, that is going to be a huge game changer. It's going to improve how you get approved. It's going to improve your limits of approval. If you get accounts set up and then let's say you go apply for an Amazon account, that would be the difference between getting a $1,000 Amazon account or a $10,000 Amazon account. That's how big and how important these beginner vendors are. So the process, you need to have credit to get more credit. Building starter vendor trade lines leads to that big payoff, where our goal after you build business credit, after you get these vendor accounts, the store cards, the fleet cards, then we want to access the cash credit, the Visas, the MasterCards, where you're able to go out there and just get a business line of credit. So getting that initial credit is the hardest part. Many trade vendors who issue credit don't even report it to the business credit reporting agencies. We just talked about how the beginner accounts, 3% of accounts. That means out of 200 companies you could actually get approved for, only 6 are going to actually offer it to you. And in the big picture, if we start to include major banks as well, 7%. And that's very, very weird, because if we think about that on our personal side, that means 7% of the things you do on your personal side would actually show up on your report, but everybody you're going to work with is going to check your report. And if you were to do something bad, almost all of them are going to report the negative. So it's very lopsided, and that's the biggest difficulty in building business credit. So you must find those sources that actually report. Let's talk about Uline. So Uline, they sell shipping, packaging, industrial supplies. They report to Dun & Bradstreet and Experian. So let me switch my screen over here, and I'm going to show you, hey, look, there we are on YouTube. Okay, so let's what I'm looking at here is, this is the system I use. This is our Wise Guys and Ties Business Credit Builder system, and I'm going to use this to show you, oh wait, no, not step 2. What we're talking about is step 3 of this process. We're going into step 3. So there's these 2 other steps. We talk about it all the time. Go through our business credit masterclass to really see the right way to set up your fundability, because if you haven't set up your business fundability, you're not even going to get approved for this stuff. All right, so there's a list of accounts that we got approved for. So let's go in here. When you're in the system, it gives you a list of accounts and you want to learn more. So let's go to Uline. So Uline here, it's going to break it down for you. If you've been entering your information as you've been going along, it says that you're pre-qualified for this. It'll give you the information, the phone number to call, the website to where to go to apply. So DMB and Experian, some only report to Dun & Bradstreet, some only report to Experian, some report to all 3. And we'll talk about some of those today. Gives you a description. Uline is leading distributor of shipping, industrial packaging materials. It's easy to apply. So, the system is already there in place. You just click apply, boom, there we go, right over there to Uline. And it goes through the process of what you're actually going to need to do to get that set up. Let's talk about that process. You must have a DUNS number and an EIN before starting with them. You need to order at least $50 worth of stuff or more. Now, this doesn't include shipping or tax. $50 product has to be on the same invoice plus shipping and tax before they'll report it. So a lot of times what happens is, Uline is one of the most well-known beginner starter vendor accounts. They're huge in helping small businesses with their packaging, their shipping materials. I would say that at some point, almost every little starter business is going to be approached or have an opportunity to work with Uline. The problem is you could maybe already have a Uline account, but you haven't ever made a purchase big enough for it to actually count. Or you made a over $50 purchase, but it was actually only $38 of product. There was some tax and then shipping. And then so you thought over 50 and that was enough. No. Your first few orders might need to be prepaid. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't focused on the fundability, if you really haven't spent time going through step one of really making sure your business is credible on paper, then you're going to have to prepay many of these accounts. Uline, for example, I have never seen a credible business that was set up the right way have to prepay. It always comes down to, if you're having to prepay, something was missed. And this could be you're using the wrong email address. This could be not being in the 411 directory. This could be the wrong phone number. Really spend time to make sure that your fundability is really set up and secure, because that's going to be that springboard. We've talked about, we haven't talked about it today, but in other trainings, we talk about the reason that all this matters is fraud. Fraud is the #1 problem to everything. And so in the business world, lenders spend majority of their money preventing fraud, because it's very easy to start a business and go out there and get free resources. You know, there's Google Voice to get a free business phone number, or a phone number you could use for a business, and you get a Gmail account. And lenders do not like these free things. So we're not going to talk a lot about the fundability. We have plenty of other trainings on that. Really want to dive into the vendors, but making sure that your business is set up the right way is how you're going to be able to get approved for these without your social. So Uline, to qualify, you need the entity in good standing with the Secretary of State, EIN number with the IRS, business address that matches everywhere. Can't stress that enough. DUNS number that matches the information with the Secretary of State, business license, and business bank account. They use the check system to run through this to see, and verify. There's a lot of this public data that is available to underwriters and lenders. Let's talk about another account, Crown Office Supplies. So I can, let's see here. Where's my mouse? Let's go back a little bit. Crown Office Supplies. So Crown Office Supplies sells a variety of office supplies. They take helping clients seriously. There's a $99 yearly fee, though they do report that fee to the business credit reporting agencies. So this is huge. This is a service, a fee, and a company that you can use that's guaranteed to report. They also report to all three, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. There is very, very, very few accounts that report to all three. That's why it's totally worth it. And it only requires a $30 purchase, where many accounts require $50. For a long time, Quill only required a $50 purchase. Now it's trending towards wanting a $100 purchase to report, and a 90-day seasoning process. These terms are 30-day net terms. So when you get the product, you have 30 days to pay them back. All right, so let me go back over to the builder real quick, and let's go over to Crown Office Supplies. Whoops, there's the accounts. I hope I'm not sharing. Make sure I'm not giving out many of my account numbers or something. That would be lovely. Joseph would beat me. All right, so Crown Office Supplies, here we go. Now, this is the same thing. Phone number, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, description, $99 fee. It talks about what you need to qualify, where to apply online. All you have to do is click here. It takes you right over to the crownofficesupplies.com Net 30 application form. Boom. So the thing is, you can totally do this yourself. It just takes a lot of time. You're going to have to do the research on your own. And, we provide as much information as we can. Our specialty is really tracking all these accounts so you can be effective in how quickly you can build it. It comes down to time. Right now, time is of the essence. We're seeing all these lending restrictions. We're seeing accounts increasing. We're seeing a shift. And so if you have not started building business credit, you need to do it now and do it as fast as possible, because we do not know what's going to transpire in the future. But what we do know is business lending is available. whereas personal is really starting to be restricted. If you're looking at, people that are buying homes right now, they're doing 3, even 4 times the amount of checks that they normally would. Right before closing, the lenders are doing another verification of income. They're really starting to get tight about their personal lending. So business is still a place where you can go out and get the funding you need. All right, so let's hop back over to our PowerPoint. Here we go. So Crown Office supplies what you need to qualify: an entity in good standing with the Secretary of State, an EIN number with IRS, business address that matches everywhere, DUNS number, business license, business bank account. Business must be at least 60 days old. Membership fee is $99 annually. That's once you've been approved, and you can go and visit them at crownofficesupplies.com to find out more. All right, let's dive into Grainger. Grainger Industrial Supply. They sell hardware, power tools, pumps, and more. They also do fleet maintenance, which is huge. So if you're any type of logistic, you have trucks, you got equipment, vehicles, this is important. They report to only Dun & Bradstreet. Orders must be $50 or more to be reported. The terms are net 30. You can visit Grainger.com to find out more information about how to get approved for Grainger. So let's pop over here to Grainger. Let's go down and see where Grainger's at. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There's Grainger. Boom. Learn more. They do net 30 or net 60 accounts. So as you're in the system here, really easy. It's a shopping list. It's a shopping cart. You get to go through and say, oh, do I want to work with them? There's their website. I click apply. Bada boom, bada bing. You can literally get these accounts set up within minutes. That's all it is. It comes down to time. Like we said, you can do it on your own. Joseph and I went through the process of building this on our own. It took us a little over 2.5 years to really start to understand this. That's when we're like, okay, there's got to be a better way to do this. Streamline quickly. So doing it yourself, 2 to 3 years. Working with the Wise Guys and Ties, we can get you this done for you in 6 to 12 months. And typically we're shooting for at least $50,000 in business lines of credit. All right, let's hop back over. Let's talk about some more accounts you can get. So we got Grainger. So in Grainger Industrial Supply, to qualify, you need an entity in good standing with Secretary of State. And we're in a lot of these, they sound redundant, but this is the fundability. This is when you went to those foundational steps, setting up your business, making sure that you didn't skip over any steps. You have the EIN number with the IRS. You have the business address, the DUNS number, business license, business bank account. Now, they may ask for additional documents for approval, just depending on the credit line that you're looking for. If you're looking for just a basic $1,000 line, you're not going to necessarily have that. But you may be, let's say you're an air conditioning repairman. Well, you may want a $10,000 or $20,000 line with them to get all those materials. That's going to be looking at other business documents. If a business doesn't have an established credit, you're definitely going to want to see these things. So if you miss some of these foundational steps, they're going to want to see some bank records. Then they will require additional documents like accounts payable, income statements, balance sheets. So I can't stress it enough, making sure that you're fundable. And you may have been thinking, oh, well, I don't need to worry about that. I'm not going to correct that address thing. Not a big deal. No. You got to understand that that's the reason for denial. These small little things, you're not dealing with people, you're dealing with the computer, zeros and ones, and they just don't miss. The algorithms are told them to look for specific things in your track record. And like I said, fraud is the one thing they're preventing. They want to deny you. They just need one little thing to be out of line for them to deny you. Wex Fleet, let's talk about some gas cards, because that's another huge thing that you can be using. And in the very beginning, if you want to, you're able to get it. And we're going to talk about that. Or you can get it once you start to have a little bit of a track record. Wex, literally almost any gas station across America. They report to Experian, Equifax, Dun & Bradstreet. They offer universal fleet cards, heavy truck cards, and universally accepted business fleet cards. Literally any gas station, almost any gas station processes these. Now they do have gas station specific ones. They also have their universal ones. Their cards have features supporting a small business. This includes a rewards program, which is pretty cool. Before applying for multiple accounts with WEX cards, though, you got to make sure you have enough time between each application. I can't talk about that enough because fleet cards, gas cards, WEX is like how Dun & Bradstreet is with business credit. WEX kind of runs the world of fleet credit. There's a lot out there like smaller processors, but WEX, you know, if you go to like 76, you go to Conoco, you go to Chevron, you go to Quick Trip, you go to Maverick, you go to Come and Go, you go to any of these places, they all actually run off of WEX. So if you are applying to 2 different gas cards in a short period of time, you could actually get denied for both because that triggers that red flag, that fraud alert. You got to make sure of, hey, which gas cards am I applying for? Which ones? Here, let me actually bring it up. I'll show you how it looks in our system when you're actually getting gas cards. Let's go over to round 2, or actually let's go to tier 2, because after you make your reports, you're going to want to monitor your reports and then keep the building process going. It's a process to this, but our system's really built to streamline it for you. Okay, so let's say that, you know, and it lets you know what you recommended. Let's say that, hey, I want a Maverick here. So Maverick, you know, is it done by WEX? Yep. There we go. Max, yep. You're going to run into the same situation with that. So let's say that you applied for the WEX and then you applied for the Maverick card. It's all the same company. And then you're going to be in that situation where if you're doing them too quickly, back to back, and each account is different. So it may once a month or every other month. It just depends on who you're actually going through. So what do you need to actually get the WEX fleet card? To qualify, you're going to need an entity in good standing with the Secretary of State, EIN number with the IRS, business address, DUNS number, business license, bank account, phone number listed in 411. This is the first one that we've talked about being in the 411 directory. Whereas before, you know, when you're going through these foundational steps, at any time, some of these underwriting guidelines get picked up by others, some of them get dropped off. But if you go through the fundability steps that we talk about in step 1 about just setting a business up the right way, you're never going to have any issues because that covers all the areas. Now, your National 411 directory, this is a game changer. This is, you know, like Office Depot. They're going to look at, are you in the 411 directory? And that alone will deny you. If you're just starting out, you're wanting to get this account in the very, very beginning, then you can do it by securing the card. So they require a $500 deposit if you have no credit built at all, or they're going to require a personal guarantee. I would say that you get a couple accounts reporting, then apply, or use the $500 deposit. It just doesn't make sense to me to use a personal guarantee on this gas card. Once again, though, when you're setting up a gas card, they're going to still need to verify identity for, you know, due to the Patriot Act, where they're making sure that you aren't linked to any type of terrorism. But so all of these things are important to understand as you're going through these applications. You want to make sure that it clearly states that this is for identity verification. Some have check boxes, some has in the fine print. Each account is different. For example, if you are moving into store cards and you're looking at using a, you know, let's say Best Buy. So Best Buy is underwritten and the bank behind it is Synchrony. Synchrony Bank is behind so many different store cards. So if you're looking at 2 different store cards and they're both with Synchrony, like for example, Lowe's and Best Buy, and you're doing them both at the exact same time, that's 2 applications that are running through Synchrony at the same time. But also they want your social security number to verify your identity. 1, because it's a bank. 2, because of also the Patriot Act aspect as well. And so in that case, you need to make sure on the application that you're not giving that personal guarantee. If it clearly doesn't state that, okay, by unchecking this box, or we are not going to be pulling your personal credit, then you need to talk with them and figure out and make sure that it is clear in writing that they're not going to be personally guaranteeing this, or you are not personally guaranteeing this, and they're not going to be pulling a credit check. They're getting very sneaky about this, guys, and it's changing. Let's talk, here's another company we can talk about, Strategic Network Solutions. Now, to qualify, you need to have an entity in good standing, number with IRS, DUNS number, business address that matches everywhere, business license, and a business bank account. So you can go over there and see the different services that Strategic Network Solution provides. They do report, and man, we're kind of running, we went over our time a little bit today. Usually try to keep these to 30 minutes, but you know, with everything that's happening right now, we really want to make sure with the uncertain economic times, building business credit is more important than ever. Business credit is the independent thing of the economy, because you're dealing with business to business relationships. Businesses want to continue to thrive through economic times. They want to extend you credit. Lenders in the business industry want businesses to be able to float through this period of time, create that stability. Building business credit is the smart decision for any entrepreneur, any business owner. It's the easiest to get started with, especially when you go through getting those starter vendors. And we have 5 vendors that we listed out today for you right now that will help you. Now, these terms are net, although sometimes they are revolving. Building business credit as a result, you will literally build business credit as a result of just being a good steward of what you're giving. Build a good business credit score and profile. This will help you to qualify and get more credit. Other business financing suites, our business financing suite, so our business credit builder program has even more starter vendors. We have over 100 accounts. So it just depends on where you're at in starting your business. If you are in the position where, hey, I want to start this business, do what's happening. I see this opportunity. Now's more than ever when I need to take this chance. Give us a call, 888-524-9273. Let us work with you. Let us make sure that we can get this done for you fast, quickly, and effectively, or at least put you in the right direction. Now, our calendar is kind of crazy. It's kind of booked up. And so on our website, you can schedule, but actually giving us a call is probably the easiest, because if you're in a situation where like, hey, I really want to talk to you guys, you know, today or tomorrow, then we'll see, you know, our office manager, she'll talk to you, see if there's a time that we can fit you in. But our goal is to really be able to help you move forward and effectively, because time is of the essence. So I hope you folks enjoyed today. I hope you found some value out of vendors that can jumpstart your business credit. If you are watching us in the Zoom webinar, thank you so much for being here. Go over to our Wise Guys and Ties. If you're watching us on YouTube and you found some value today, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this with some friends that need to hear this. Business owners, help them get their business off and running. And if you're running into any type of trouble, situations, or you just want to do it the fastest way possible, give us a call, 888-524-9273. I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here today. For myself and Joseph Smith, I want to say good night and God bless.